Here we go. What's happening, people? We're joined again for another episode of Let the Punk Talk. I'm with, as always, Kyle from Boxingroyaltee, and joined by Ryan, the Lukeman. Oh, fuck me. Ryan, the Lightning Lukeman. Another fighter. Yeah, should we start again? No, joking. All right. So, Ryan, for the people that don't know, could you just give us a little introduction of how you got into boxing and your amateur background and so on?
All right, so obviously 1-0, undefeated professional fighter, the gorgeous gangster, the handsome hustler, the pretty pimp, call me any of them of the above. And obviously, like I started boxing when I was like 10. So like just amateur thing. How I actually got into it was through my older brothers. They were like big Ricky Hatton fans. So obviously it's Ricky Hatton, innit? It's not quite your story, but you know what I'm saying? Obviously, what happened was, like, I think it's the fight before the Costa Zoo fight. And we was like, they bring me over to their house to watch the fight, innit? And then, Ricky Hatton won. And it was just before, sorry, my notifications. Let me turn it off. What can I say? But yeah, obviously there's the fight before the Costa Zoo fight, and I remember watching it, and I fell in love with boxing watching it, innit? So I started watching all Ricky Hatton fights, but the only one I could properly remember was obviously the big one was the Mayweather fight, innit? I just remember literally my heart being broken in that fight. I was about 10 years old, and I remember my brothers and that, like, you know, the first knockdown he got hit and he fell into the turnbuckle. And my brothers are there, like, oh shit, and all that. And I'm there as a little kid, like, he's like my superhero. And like, till then, he was like 43-0, he hasn't lost or nothing, innit? So I'm there literally praying to God like this year, but on the sly, like, please God, if he just wins, like, you let Ricky Hatton win this, I'll do all my homework. I was selling my soul and everything, yeah. And then obviously, he ended up getting knocked out, so. Yeah, I was just heartbroken. I remember going back to my dad about it, and he's like, "Oh, you enjoy like weekend at your brothers and that?" I said, "Dad, I'm becoming a professional boxer. I'm gonna beat up this Mayweather guy." And, like, my dad's like mad old school, like Irishman, like he don't know who the hell Mayweather is, isn't it? Who the fuck's Mayweather? Yeah. And obviously, I'm just like, listen. Long story short, I need to get into boxing. I'm gonna beat this guy. I'm gonna batter him, and all that, innit? So my dad signed me up for a boxing gym, and I just remember being in my room. And I used to have this mirror. I used to stand in front of it and literally envision that I was in the MGM Grand fighting Mayweather. Used to be shadow boxing and all that, innit? And then, long story short, as I grew up, I literally became a Mayweather fan. Like, it became my favourite fighter, innit? And then, like, even my brother to this day still calls me a flow-mo and, like, get your tongue out Mayweather's arse, like, do you know what I mean? So it came from literally hating the guy to actually thinking, you know what, this is one of my favourite fighters. So, yeah, that's how I got into actually liking boxing, do you know what I mean? And then from there, obviously signing up at my local gym, going boxing. But where I was at a bit in and out of certain things. I didn't really turn amateur till I was like 19, innit? So it's a bit late.
How many amateurs did you have?
I ended up having like 10, I believe. Yeah,
the same to me.
Fights. Yeah,
nice.
So it weren't a lot.
So before, obviously, we get into your pro career. Obviously, we're quite good friends and I know a lot about you, but for those that don't know, you spent some time in prison. Could you just kind of like tell us what that was like?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was only in there for a short time. I spent like a couple months in there. And obviously, I was in there, and funny enough, I bumped into another professional boxer I know that I used to train with. Obviously, I ain't spoke to him about this, so I don't know if he wants me to mention that he was in jail and that, innit? He done a little stint like in jail, and I think he kept it on the low.
Yeah.
So I won't mention his name, but yeah, me and him used to train together. I just remember in the yard just seeing him in there, innit? And I was like, fucking, like, what are you doing in there? He's like, what are you doing in there? Oh man, you know what it's like, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I only spent like a couple months in there, but yeah, at the time I was like, obviously I can't really get into exactly what I was like charged with because some things are ongoing, not ongoing, but they're like open cases and things like this, innit? So I can't bring up certain things, but yeah, it was like there was a lot of charges where literally my sister sat me down in prison and was like, listen, if all found guilty for all of these charges against you, you're looking at a minimum of 12 years possibly. And it's my first time in jail, like my first week, and I'm sitting down hearing this, innit? I'm like, shit. And I just remember going back to my cell, and I was literally like praying in my cell, and I said, you know what, God, like, if I do somehow get out from this, I said, like, the only thing I can promise you is that I'm going to stop everything I'm doing, and I'm just going to dedicate myself to like the sport of boxing, the one gift I believe you gave me, innit? And yeah, like a couple months later, I had court, things went well, end up coming out, and I said, well, like, this is it now, innit? I've got to live up to my promise. So I came out and just started taking boxing very seriously, innit? And now I'm a professional boxer. So
nice, mate. It's a little like Bernard Hopkins story for everyone.
Yeah, mate, yeah.
So how was with your interview with the board? Because I know what they're like with people that have been to prison. They could be quite funny. How was they with you when you had your interview?
No, they're sweet. Like, I was actually surprised. Like, even saying to my manager and that, I was like, I've been jail and like it's for a violent crime, things like this, isn't it? Yeah. And he's like, listen, don't worry about it. Like, I've brought people here that have had these sort of backgrounds, and it's all right, isn't it? But I'm still in the back of my head thinking they're gonna go, what? You done what? Like, get out of here, you monster! Like, you know what I mean? It's like chasing me out and that, yeah. So I'm speaking to him. There's like, oh, what did you go jail for? I'm saying using like the technical term, and it's like, mate, what does that mean? Like, what did you go jail? I say, oh, basically, I was doing this shit. He said, all right, no worries. Like, don't worry about it. Like, is all your things over? I said, yeah, like, all my cases are over and all that. And then he's like, all right, don't worry about it. I sent him my solicitor's letters. And he's like, listen, first thing he said to us was, look, has anyone here been to Eton School, innit? Like, the private schooling? And everyone like, no. He's like, all right, we don't expect anyone to anyway. Like, this is a sport for young lads who are bloody off the street, kind of like working class, rough sort of background, innit? So there's like, listen, if you've made some of the mistakes in your past, it's okay, innit? As long as you're not doing them now. And you know, I credit them for that. So like, a lot of people talk bad about the board, and like, you know, there's a lot of people in boxing that say things, but I've got to give them credit with that, innit? Because that was the one hurdle I was thinking, all right, I came out of jail. I was like, take it seriously, but I was like, but I have been to jail. That's now a stepping stone, like a hurdle I've got to get past.
Yeah.
So as soon as I sat in that boardroom and I was talking to them, and I was like, yeah, like, as soon as I got it, it's like my heart dropped. Like, yeah, it's good, man. You know what I mean? I said, I'm never going to talk bad about the board again.
Yeah, no, some people have their thing with them, but they've always been pretty sweet with me as well. I've never had any problems with the board and all that. So moving forward into your first professional fight, tell us like how it was with you know, obviously we've had the pandemic, how training was with you with the pandemic, and then getting ready for your first professional fight, and obviously fighting someone who was also undefeated as a 1-0 fighter. Just tell us how it all come about and what it was like for you.
Yeah, you know, it's an up and down thing, yeah, because like training was going good, and like they flew in my opponent, who was meant to be a Bulgarian journeyman sort of thing. They flew him in, and he caught COVID. Wait, first of all, yeah, my date was set for a later date, and I got a phone call basically saying like, we need to fill up a card earlier. It's up to you if you want to do that. Fill the card up earlier, innit? Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll take the earlier card. Like, so we had to fast forward our training a bit. And obviously, the journeyman then they flew him in, and he's caught COVID as soon as he's landed on the airport, innit? So it's like, man, like it's a last minute rush. Like 2 days before the fight, what are they gonna do? So they've ended up having to look around. I'm on the phone to the matchmakers, and they're like, look, there's one guy we can find for the show. We've searched the whole country. Do you know what I mean? There's one guy we can find for the show. He's 1-0, and when we phoned him, he fights at your weight. But when we phoned him, he's a little bit bigger than you and all this, yeah. So I'm like, all right. I'll speak to my coach. He's like, listen, we've got 2 days. We've put in the work. And my coach does have faith in me. He really does believe in me that I'm a talent, innit? So it's good to have that, you know what I mean? And he's like, listen, you go out there and you do what we've been working on. You utilize your tools, which are actually good at your jabs, things like this. And whoever's gets in front of you, as long as there ain't no bloody world champion they're throwing in there on your debut, but whoever they throw in there, we'll deal with them, you know what I mean? And yeah, that was encouraging. So we went ahead with that fight and took it and won every round against a guy who was 1-0 at the time. Took his O, gave him his first loss, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was there, and it takes a lot of balls, man, to do that, especially on 2 days' notice when you've been preparing for someone else and stepping up weight class. And credit to you, mate. So I'll hand over to Carl now because I know Carl's got some questions for you.
Hello, boys. How are we? I waited
Yeah,
patiently. Just a quick. That was very interesting hearing that because I didn't know that, Ryan. So, just a quick one on that last opponent. Obviously, how does your mindset change? Obviously, I don't know as a boxer how it is in fight mode anyway. But obviously, you're expecting to be fighting a journeyman. Then, however many days out, you're told you're fighting a guy that's going for a career. He's not there to fight every week. You know, this guy's won his first fight. How did that change your mindset towards the fight, or was it just be positive? I'm still going to win.
Yeah, and I have immense confidence with anything I do. Like literally, like just my whole mindset is just full of confidence. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's boxing, whether it's women, whether it's anything, I just have supreme confidence. Do you know what I mean? Like, so when I see it, first of all, obviously I've YouTubed him, I've watched his fight, and obviously I mentioned it to Jack. Jack's watched his fight. I mentioned other people like that know boxing, they've watched it. You know, people are just coming with, oh well, he's good at this, and I'm like, listen, that ain't gonna matter on the night. Like when I go in there and I put on, I'm gonna neutralize everything. This guy does this well, yeah. Well, I do this better. Do you know what I mean? So when like the opponent changed and that, I watched his interviews as well, and he was like saying how he was going for title runs, like he was actually trying to aim for titles. I was like, this is an actual prospect here. This is a prospect against prospect. We're not starting off with journeyman. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was a bit like I was a bit down about it really because it weren't the debut I envisioned. For weeks I had a certain mind frame of how it was going to go and all that, but yeah, on the night it was better than getting the journeyman because just to look back at things, isn't it? Like hindsight is 2020. When you look back in retrospect and you're like, you know what, that was actually just what I needed.
Yeah. I mean, it's now you look at it, you know, when I even looked at your box rec before when we first spoke, you know, and you see how many boxers can you say you've looked at their box rec and you've seen that they've fought in their first fight a 1-0 fighter. It never happens. And I bet you probably would struggle to find more than 10 in the country at this minute that in their first fight box someone that was unbeaten in a fight. Do you know what I mean? Like usually it's along the sounds like lost 37, 1, 2 or 3. So back to what what you and Jack was talking about, like when you come out of prison, how long was it before you had that meeting with the board? Was it, I want to go straight into boxing, or was it, like you said, you
This
had
is
that
the
mind?
maddest thing as well. Yeah, imagine I came out of jail. I was doing amateur, but in and out, not taking it seriously, messing about and all that. So I came out, went straight to my amateur club. Like that's it now. I'm banging out these amateur fights. I think at the time I was 21 when I was in jail. I came out. No, I think I was 22. So and I've only had like 4 amateurs or something. So I was always getting handbrakes, or I just weren't serious with it, innit? So as soon as I went back, I went, that's it. We're going to bang out amateur fights. I'm a turn pro. I had this all in my mind, innit? Like, I'm going to take this extremely seriously. And literally, I went and signed my professional contract with my manager. And then it didn't take until a year later, I realized because on Snapchat, you've got like Snapchat memories. And I looked at it, and it was 2 years to the exact day that I had my court in prison when I sat down and said that prayer. And literally I was like, you know what, if I come out, I'm going to change it around. And I was like, wow, like I didn't realize at the time, but 2 years later, I looked at the date and it came up. The date on my court was the exact same date that I signed my professional contract. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of blew my mind, the synchronicity between it. Do you know what I mean? Like I literally said, if I get out of this court case, I'm going to change my life. And it was like, I don't know, innit? Not a lot of people are faithful, but with me, I've kind of got that in my mind, innit? That it was like kind of like God winking at me to say, yeah, like we made a deal, and I pulled out my part, and you pulled out your part, innit? So yeah.
Have you? So obviously, I see on your Twitter and your Instagram, you know, you do post a lot about God. Have you always been faithful? Like, have you always looked to God, spoke to God, or is it more since what happened that you turned to God?
No, I've always kind of had that mindset. Like, I believe that every creation, I look around, I see creation, there must be a creator. And that's the mindset I've always had. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I've just always had that sort of mindset. But obviously, things through life and all that, I've kind of elevated it and, like, certain, like, a lot of, to believe in, like, it's a belief at the end of the day. It is very subjective. Do you know what I mean? It's very experiencing your own experiences through life. I can't tell someone else why God is real. Do you know what I mean? It's just subjective through my life. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's good. You know, I mean, me personally, I believe in it, but I don't believe in it. But like you said, it's what you see yourself. Do you know what I mean? No one can tell you what to believe, or you can't tell anyone else what to believe. And how was, you know, when you said you went to your amateur coach and then you turned pro, how was he when you went straight back? Was he kind of like, you're back, or was it, yeah, let's go? Was he fully supportive of you doing it?
Yeah, like my coach as well, James Cook. He's got MBE because he's actually helped like young lads who are on the road thing and all that, like set their life straight, and he actually got MBE from the Queen and that for it, and that like he's former British and European champion. Like he's very like well known on the boxing scenes. You know what I mean? They're very respected as well. So having someone like that to kind of guide my career and help me. And at the end of the day, he's been to the levels in boxing that I'm trying to get to. So who better to actually guide me down that road than him? You know what I mean? So it was a blessing in disguise to have someone like that when I went out of prison. And like, obviously he's disappointed, but he sat me down, we had a chat, and he's like, basically, do you want to do this seriously? And you need to stop messing about. Just, you know what I mean? Little chats between me and him and that. So that helped a lot and set my mind straight.
That's crazy, you know. Obviously, me and Jack spoke about it on the first or second show. We done how special that bond is to have in that gym, and to have somebody like you're saying there like that. I really didn't expect this to start how we started. Obviously, Jack had his stuff, I had my stuff, and when like obviously Jack, I was like, whoa, like, and I was just sat there like I was listening in on the interview, like I was an observer type thing. But you know, we did talk about it before, and you know, you've seen Jack with Kieran, and I'm sure you're the same with the guy like you said you work with. And you've obviously got it where he's took you in, and he's, you know, in his mind it might be I'm putting him on the straight and narrow. You didn't need that, but he's helped you and he's got you to where you are now. So when you talk about your further plans, what is your ideal 2022? You're sitting there on New Year's Eve and you've gone, I'm happy with that. What are you happy with?
You know what it is? I want to have as much fights as possible. I literally want to get out, hopefully, God willing, every like 6 weeks or something. But the only issue is, I don't want to speak about that issue, yeah, because that's just personal, yeah. But I think hopefully, yeah, I could get out every 6 weeks, innit? But yeah, hopefully.
And you're out very soon, we hear?
Yeah, I'm out in 7 weeks, yeah. It's just I had a hand injury, innit? And I had to take a bit of time off for that. So hopefully I've got no more hand injuries.
Where is your fight going to be? Where will people be able to get tickets?
Yeah, it's March 27th. It's on a Sunday, so there's no excuses not to turn up. Do you know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure church don't go on that late on Sundays, so people better be turning up. And yeah, so on the 27th of March at York Hall, where I had my debut, it's where I'll be having most of the fights moving on in my career until I'm headlining the MGM against Mayweather Son or something. So I still get that redemption. So yeah, until then, they're scouring the country. They haven't found their opponent yet, a sacrificial lamb for me to slaughter, but they are scouring the country, and any man brave enough to step in there with me will be rewarded with a cash prize, I guess, and an extra loss on his record.
I might have to sleep over at York Hall then. Christ, March is looking pretty packed out for me. I've got the 12th of March, 26th of March, you the 27th. I might just speak to them and say, look, can I get an overnight ticket? How much are you going to charge me?
Yeah, they should do rooms upstairs or something, innit? For the boxing fans.
It's good though. York Hall, like Jack said before, he's fought every fight there. It's such an iconic venue, and I couldn't believe that the first time I'd been to York Hall was for Jack and Mark's fight on November the 27th.
Oh, no way.
That's the first one. I've always watched it, you know, like I remember you had Anthony Joshua was fought there. A lot of Conor Ben's fights was there. He had that cracking fight with that Paynord there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy. It was quite weird because obviously we spoke about when I won them tickets to Lomachenko Campbell, Jack, and I was sitting there on the Thursday watching the open workout, and then literally 20 minutes after the workout, I got a notification come through on my phone saying you've won tickets, and I was like, yeah, this is a wind-up. It's like, no, you've won the tickets. So yeah, that was the first time I'd been, and obviously I'll be going a few times this year. Obviously, hopefully Jack's out 3 or 4 times, like you say, you'll be out. So just talking about November the 27th, obviously you were there supporting Jack.
Yeah, definitely.
Just how proud were you of his performance?
Yeah, no, it's good, man. It's happy. You know, I was happy to see it as well. And you could just tell, like, with Jack, he was as himself, like, very proud of the performance as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of fighters as well. Like, we're very critical of ourselves as fighters. You know what I mean? If we have a bad performance, we're fucking down in the dumps. Like, we might even win the fight. We'll be like, I just know I could have done better and all that, innit? So see how happy Jack was. You knew that he pulled out a good performance as well. It's just seeing it yourself. A lot of times you think, yeah, you have to encourage him. Like, you done well, mate. That was well. You didn't need to say that with Jack. Do you know what I mean? He was fucking, you had to hold him still and shit. He was jumping all over the guy. So yeah, it's good to see, man. It was a good night.
Yeah, he was incredible. I mean, you just see it from when Jack, you fell to the floor in the ring, and like we spoke about, it was just pure relief to say, thank fuck, that's over. You know what I mean? I don't care about winning. I don't care that the fight's done. Like, that is it. That next fight is out of my way. So, Jack, the same question for you. So you went to watch Ryan's debut.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. How proud? How good did he perform in your opinion?
Yeah, mate. The whole debut with Ryan was a funny one because, as he said, he had like his dates were moved and all that, and it got one thing that really stuck out to me was just his fight got moved to the day of my girlfriend's granddad's funeral, and then lo and behold, the funeral ended up getting moved, and we went to watch Ryan, and Ryan come out to Phil Collins in the Air Tonight, which was my girlfriend's granddad's favorite song, and was also played at his funeral. So that was a bit of one of them like really like touchy moments. Like, wow, this was like meant to be. Like, I was meant to be here to watch Ryan fight. Like, it was one of them. And yeah, I mean, of course, I was so proud. Like, I get more nervous watching my friends fight than I do when I fight. And like, and obviously, knowing that it was a last minute thing against someone 1-0 coming to win, like much heavier than Ryan, because he didn't make the weight. Like he was like what, like a couple, like 10 kilos heavier or something, wasn't he? And then obviously hearing, we didn't even speak about it, but Ryan actually broke his hand in the 3rd round as well. So like, to overcome all of that, it just shows that Ryan's got like great heart and he's a proper fighting man.
Was that in a 4-rounder? You broke your hand in the 3rd round?
Yeah, literally, it just had to disguise it, innit, through the whole fight. And literally, no one ever clocked. No one clocked. But you know what it is as well? I have a feeling that if I didn't mention it to the doctor, he wouldn't have clocked either. Do you know what I mean? Just the whole buzz of the night, the whole excitement, the whole just thrill, everyone excited. It just overcame the pain. Do you know what I mean? And there was a couple points where I landed a sweet jab, yeah, and it's like this shot went up my arm. This is after my hand was broke. I was like, I can't really throw jabs now, and I was jabbing him the whole fight. But I was like, I have to throw a jab just to show him like there's nothing wrong with me. Like, if you instantly stop jabbing and you're a jabber, they think, ooh. So I was like, I have to throw something just to show him in it. So I've landed a swift jab, yeah, and I just feel up my whole arm. And I was like, I'm not doing that again. I was like, it's only right hands from now. And then, yeah, still end up winning the round.
How did that make you feel during the fight? Obviously, it's your debut. The fight's been pulled forward. You're fighting a guy that's undefeated. He's heavier than you, and you break your hand. In your mind, was it just, again, stay positive? I've got this. I'm winning the fight. Yeah,
I'm extremely confident with, as I said, with everything I do. And in there, I was thinking, one hand, no hand, I'll figure out a way. I'm an adaptive, reactive fighter. In there, I'll adapt and I'll react to what's happening in front of me, and I'll figure out a way to beat this man. Do you know what I mean? So that's just my whole mindset. If the hand fell completely off, I'd have kicked out the ring and carried on. We would have kept going. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's the attitude you've got to have. You can't let something. Obviously, a broken hand in a boxing ring is far from ideal because it's the only thing you can throw. But yeah, you've got to stay positive. And Jack, I don't think I've ever spoke to you about it. Have you had any injuries in the ring, like in a fight?
No, I mean, I've been very lucky. Like, Kieran says it to me all the time. Apparently, I'm like, and so did Rob Lloyd Taylor as well, actually. They always used to say that I'm the worst professional boxer they've ever seen to wrap their hands. And I've never had a problem with my hands. Like, I've got thick skin, I guess, man.
Can you just please touch wood? Just touch something. Just touch wood. Blimey, please pray. I remember when you was wrapping your hands and we were down the gym and Kieran come over, didn't he? Said, "Are you all right wrapping your hands?"
Yeah.
And it just brought back to me there. Are you all right? No, I didn't do that. I can't do that.
Yeah, I'll stay away from the accents, Carl, man. What's up with you?
Oh,
does it every episode as well. Never gets it on point, right?
Oh, who else have I done? I don't know who else. The thing is, when you're on
a Scottish one, I think you didn't try to do like Josh Taylor or something.
I can do a banging Scottish accent, but I would never try Josh Taylor because he'd maul me limb from limb. But probably Kieran would as well. So, so a question for you both. I'll go to you first, Ryan. How far can Jack go, in your opinion?
Well, in the super flyweight division, when I look at the super flyweight division, I don't think Jack is far off taking over that division. So did the connection kind of like?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. You're back.
Yeah, as I was saying, how great Jack is. The connection tries to stop me, mate. Ain't gonna stop me. But yeah, honestly, I do think I don't know if it's just because I've been in there with him and I've felt it firsthand. You know what I mean? But if I think highly, like the first time me and Jack actually sparred, yeah, like when we first met, like Jack gave me an awful beating, like one of the worst beatings I've got. It was so unexpected as well, because I'm expecting like, oh, it's this guy you just meet, you have a little spar, move around with. Like I'm new to all this, like the pro game and all that, innit? And he ended up beating the shit out of me, and I thought, fool. Like I literally came home to my dad. I was talking to him and his coach at the time after, and I was like, Dad, I need to fix up my diet. I need to do this. Like, proper, like, it gave me, like, it was like, I don't know what the word is, but it gave me, like, a shock to the system sort of thing. Like, I've really got, like, this is a pro. I was in there sparring a pro. I've got shit beaten out of me. I need to really fix up. But, yeah, so just going off these things and seeing Jack, like, in there with me, I think, without a doubt, Jack can take over the division.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's got the personality to go with it. You know, there's no point being a wet flannel outside the ring, but then being great in the ring. Do you know what I mean? You've got to have that side that people recognise you outside. So, is that how you two met? Then you know, you had a spar and that was it.
Well,
yeah,
it's actually. Go on.
Yeah, no. So we have like a mutual friend called Sonny. I used to work with Sonny. I'm not sure how Ryan and Sonny know each other. I think they went to school or something. And so yeah, Sonny was just like to me, "Oh, I've got a friend, Ryan. Like, why don't you message him and get some sparring on and so on?" And then, yeah, so I just messaged Ryan on Insta, and yeah, that was the first time we met to spar, and yeah, we've been best buds ever since.
So you beat the life out of him, and now you're best friends.
Yeah. Basically, it was as he said, a mutual friend. And see, it was during the lockdown, like heavy, like the first lockdown when it was literally lockdown, no amateur, no pro, no nothing, yeah, like was going on in it. So obviously the mutual friend we have is an amateur as well. And I was doing like pads for him, just helping him out and that. And he messaged me and he said, "Oh, I've got a mate who's a pro, you've just turned pro, like you lot around the same weight, you up for sparring him?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, man." And he's like, "I'm going to give him your Insta, shoot you a message." And Jack messaged me. It was all cool. I went there. He was all cool, like nicest guy. I'm thinking, oh, I don't have the heart to punch this guy in the face. You know what I mean? I just met him and bloody, you know what I mean? But get in there and then yeah, he's fucking pulled a swift one on me, innit? He fucking all the pretty rainbows handing me flowers and that, and get in there and he bloody gives me a black eye. I've literally got still a picture I took on my phone. Snapchat, I've got it saved on that of like for sparring today, and I've got a black eye, and it's from Jack, innit? So yeah, I might show him that at his wedding or something.
Yeah, man, good times. Carl, I thought you was gonna take over and say something then. You're muted. You're muted.
I need to get used to this, don't I? Because it says unmute, mute. Same question to you, Jack. So, how far do you think Ryan can go?
Yeah, no, I rate Ryan. Like, I think he can go far. Like, obviously, it's hard to gauge at the moment because he's want to know. He's still as he said, he's still. I mean, we're all still learning, but he's pretty much new to everything around in boxing. But like, I think where he's obviously like myself when I started, he only had 10 amateurs, so like he's still very raw to the game, and there's still a couple things that he needs to like iron out. But at the same time, I think, I don't even know if it's a word, but his like rarities, if that even makes sense, like because he's so tall for the weight, it makes him almost very awkward as well. Like he's like 5'11" for a
6 foot, mate. 6 foot.
6 foot. 6 foot for a super featherweight, which is obviously extremely tall. So it makes him extremely awkward. You know, like most people he comes up against are probably going to be my weight, 5'7", 5'9" at a very like a big push. So I think right now, he's got the potential to win a Southern area, win an English, but time will tell once he, you know, adjusts to the pro game more and settles in. Like I think he could potentially go even further, but I think there's definitely an English title waiting for Ryan down the line.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean,
undefeated and undisputed pound for pound number one in the world is what he meant. That's what he meant. He's just being nice for the podcast. I mean, come on.
The next Mayweather.
Yeah.
He tells me in private all the time, but he's just being nice for the podcast.
Oh, the Undisputed King will tag this one as Jack when we put it on YouTube, and everyone will be like, "Oh, what's that? Like, look, they got so many people already under Ryan Lukeman. Here he is."
That's it. The gorgeous gangster, the pretty pimp, the handsome hustler. Come on, don't forget.
I generally think one of them should have been your nickname, mate.
Yeah, what is your nickname? Because the gorgeous gangster's quite.
Yeah, the gorgeous.
No, I've actually got a very short and sweet nickname that people call me by, and it's the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, the women's pet and the men's regret, the reflection of perfection, the one that gets all your attention, the biggest arms, the greatest charms, and the one that does all the harm. He eats T-bone steaks, needless barbell plates, and is the definition of great. And when you're the greatest man alive, they got a name for you. They don't just call you great; they call you Ryan Lukeman. That's what it is.
And
it's
then
only short and sweet, as I said. I don't like to complicate things.
When you said it, I was thinking, right, what's it going to be like? Rem or no? And then you started, and I was like, hang on a minute. Is this a loop?
It's a short, sweet one for people. They always remember it. You know what I mean? They never.
Yeah, I'm sure the ring announcers have got that on the end of their tongue. I'm sure they're ready to go with it.
Oh yeah, they love when I turn up. They love it. They never get their money's worth.
Do they call you to the ring with that as well? Surely not.
Yeah, on demand as well. If they even slip a tongue, I come in there and I'm.
I like the gorgeous, like we spoke about nicknames before, and the punk kid, obviously lipstick kid, but the one you just said, gorgeous gangster. I don't know what the one after that was. The something.
The handsome hustler and the pretty pimp, and they're all true stories as well.
Two stories.
You wondered why I went to prison. You know what I mean? Come on, guys.
I want to hear the story about the handsome hustler. What's the story behind that then, if you can tell us?
It's just something the women call me. I didn't make up myself. You don't call yourself a nickname, do you? Women, you know what I mean? One of my 27 girlfriends, they all got a name for me. So, how do you think I thought of them?
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'll you can when we're at the fight on March the 12th. Oh, it is the 12th, and it's not 12th. Mm-hmm. You can repeat that to me.
Yeah, I'm expecting you both to learn that by my fight as well. Like, I'm pretty sure Jack's going to be doing his little article about my fight, so I'm expecting. Do you know what I mean?
We'll try and get Rod to learn that one, Jack. That'd be quite funny.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll get that on the end of his tongue, but we'll try it. So moving on, obviously we talk about you two supporting each other. Just how good is it for you two to have that good friend? Like, obviously you've got each other. How good is that to know that he is going to be there? Like Jack's going to be at your fight, Ryan.
Yeah, do you know what? This is something I didn't really speak about much, but Jack is actually like someone that really helped me through the process of becoming a pro, because I went into this completely blind. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm just an amateur turning pro. I didn't know much pros myself, so I was just asked like, do you know, little questions just to ease your minds, like about how it's going to be, what's the procedures, is there any extra stuff I need to bring, like just so I used to hit him up all the time for questions. You know, if ever I had any doubts in my mind about it, I'd be like, oh Jack, by the way, do you know with this part what happens here with entrance music, just with everything, tickets, like just how does everything work in it? And don't know if he got annoyed or not, but he'd always just hit me back with it. Like it just put my mind at such a rest that by the time I actually got to the fight and I'm walking out and doing whatever, it was like I felt like I've already been there before. So it's like Jack kind of run me through it and walked me through it, like through my whole journey. Do you know what I mean? So having that was so comforting. Do you know what I mean? So I applaud Jack for that. I thank him in it, because that was something that helped a lot.
Anytime, man.
So another one for both of you, where you say about that, obviously I played on the tour and I had a similar guy to what you had. He was an old man. He'd played county darts for like 15 years. And I asked him every question. How would they call me to the stage? When do I know when I'm playing? This, that and the other. And I know what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? And I had it after that with younger kids saying it to me. But in both of your words, like Jack, you obviously said before, like you're just so chilled out the back. But what happens? Like, obviously, I want you both to explain to me. Like, so you're sitting in your change room. Do they like give you a little tap on the door and say, Jack, you're walking? Or is it like, you know, you're going to be going in 10 minutes, 5 minutes now?
Yeah. So like, I don't know who was at Ryan's one, but a guy like he's called like Dave the Whip, they call him, is the guy that obviously sorts it all out, and he's literally at every Steve Goodwin show. And yeah, he just like he'll come in, he'll see you, and he'll ask you questions. Have you seen the doctor? This, that. These are your gloves, so on and so forth. And then throughout the show, yeah, like he'll come on and like he'll be like, yeah, 3 fights you're on, 2 fights you're on, so on. And then once the fight's on, the fight just before you come in, right, this is a 4-rounder, you've got this time, like blah, blah, blah. And they keep updating you for every round. And then obviously when it's showtime, he comes, knocks on the door, he says, come on, it's ready. Like, it stop you. Your opponent's there. Let him walk out, come through. And yeah, that's like how it all works.
So you're literally stood like opposite your opponent as he's
you won't see him. Like, you'll be in the change room here, like, here, stop you. Your opponent will just walk through, take the right, go out, and then they walk you out as well.
You couldn't give him a quick heel flick as he walked through the curtains onto the platform. And what about you, Ryan? How did you feel seeing your debut? You know, how was it when they said, "Look, Ryan, you're on"? Was it a case?
I was actually the first fight of the night, innit? So as soon as we got in there and that, we knew what time the show was going to start. It was going to start at say 7:30. So we knew just be ready by 7:30, and then they came in and said, "You're up." So yeah, we come down, got ready to fight. We didn't have to wait for no fights beforehand, nothing like that.
And nerves? How were you feeling when they?
I don't really get nervous. As I said, like, I was literally, and I mean literally, in front of my mirror at 10 years of age, like, manifesting the fact that I'm going to be an MGM Grand fighting Floyd Mayweather. It was no joke. I was not doing it for a laugh. I know I'm a funny guy. I'm absolutely hilarious, but I weren't doing this as a joke. I was being deadly serious. Like, I could vision him, Mayweather in front of me, all the crowd, and obviously growing up being like a big wrestling fan, big boxer, I always thought I'd be in these big arenas anyway. So when I walked out, I had no nerves at all. When you're extremely confident like I am, I just don't have nerves. Like, I generally it'll take like me being at Wembley Stadium and walking out and having people throwing stuff at me, because that's generally what I'm trying to get to. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, then there might be an inkling of a nerve kickoff, but until then, I'm good.
So I think we should make a pact as we're sat in now that if Ryan does fight at MGM Jack, he flies us both out there and pays for our tickets.
I will fight at MGM Grand, and you both won't come with me. No, I'm joking. I'll get you got tickets. Why not? Why not? For good old time's sake.
I've never been to America, so I'd love to go.
Amazing, man.
So look, is there any other questions, Jack, you want to speak to Ryan about, or anything to do with Ryan's career before we move on?
Not as such, but as in the first episode, as I said to you, like, when I normally do interviews, I always ask the person who I'm interviewing, because of, like, obviously my style, it's just the way I am, basically. Did I ever have any questions for me? So Ryan, do you have any questions for me?
I know you too much to bloody. I feel like I need to ask something bloody deep in that. Do you know what I mean? Just to find out something about you. Your bloody, I don't know, your toilet schedule or something. What don't I know? I don't know.
Judging from the day I see him, he don't have time to wee because he's in and out.
Yeah, I can't think now, but I am going to bring something up during this before this interview ends. How about that?
All right, sweet.
So I want to learn a bit more about the Punk Kid and the nickname you said, because I can't repeat the 50 words.
Yeah, no, for purpose sake, it is Lightning.
Lightning, right? We're cool. I want to know more about Lightning and the Punk Kid. Yeah. So this is going to be random questions. Yeah. This is going to be your favorite food, your favorite drink, your favorite holiday destination. So I want you both to tell me your favorite chocolate bar.
Chocolate bar.
My favorite. I have two that I like, always my go-to, and it'd be a Snickers or a Twix.
That's pretty plain, isn't it? I'm disappointed by that.
That's what I like, mate.
Go on, Ryan.
Well, you know, it's where I'm such a disciplined athlete. Yeah, I actually don't eat chocolate. Like, I'm not a runaway like Jack. You know what I mean? But if I was to eat chocolate on a one-off, I eat munchies, isn't it? You know, the little square ones with, like, the nutmeg or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've got 4 packs in your fridge.
Yeah, I'm not a chocolate eater, to be honest. I used to, growing up, love it, but someone has to have discipline here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I never used to as a kid. I hated chocolate as a kid. I only ever ate white chocolate. I know that's still chocolate, but I rarely ate it. But now for me, it's a Whisper Gold. Oh, I love them. Anything with caramel.
Whisper's nice. I've got to give you that.
They take me.
Never had the gold one though.
I'll get it. Go to the shop after this and get one, and then message me and tell me.
Disciplined. What happened to discipline? I've just been preaching about it 10 minutes. You're sending me shop.
I'll bring you one on the 27th, the 12th.
No, 27th. You got it right the first time. You know what I mean? 27th.
We'll have half each. Yeah. So, all right, favourite chocolate bar, Jack. Favourite what? Ask us.
Oh, what's your favorite chocolate bar, or what we saying now?
What do you want to know about Ryan that you don't know? His favorite could be anything.
Oh man,
Just don't say my favorite girlfriend because I'm not picking and getting in trouble for that. I'm not doing that.
Who was your all-time favorite wrestler?
Oh, it's got to be Shawn Michaels because he stole my nickname in it, the Heartbreak Kid. I mean, come on, it's like, come on, you know what I mean? I'm disappointed with him, but yeah, it's Shawn Michaels.
My favorite female wrestler?
Oh, that was a close one. You know what? Probably it'd have to be China, isn't it? From back in the day, she was like iconic. Like she was the first ever one to be in a Royal Rumble. She was women's champion, all that. Because they kind of stopped the women's championship. I think it was after '91 with Elizabeth, and then they brought it back around the Attitude Era with like Trish Stratus and China. So yeah, probably have to be China.
Did you watch the Royal Rumble last week?
I stopped watching wrestling in 2009 when they sold out and became a bloody Disney Channel thing. You know what I mean? That's when
we could have a WWE dispute.
The real gangsters got to step back and let the kids play, innit? So that's when I decided to actually start watching real fighting.
So I said to Jack, if you based yourself off of a wrestler, I don't know if I did ask this, Jack. Who would you base yourself off of, both of you? Just in case you didn't answer that one, Jack.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say if I had to base myself off a wrestler, just because we're we do similar stuff, I would probably say Jeff Hardy.
I would say Jeff Hardy for you as well.
He's my favourite ever.
Yeah, he was a sick guy.
And of course, with Shawn Michaels, he comes down from the ceiling. Like, come on, who does that? You see that WrestleMania 14 or 13?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he come down from the ceiling on a zip wire. Like, what a legend! Who does that? You know what I mean? That'd have to be me.
And you're the one entrance in wrestling. We'll stay on a bit of wrestling for a bit, Jack. I know you're a big fan. You're the one entrance, could be any entrance, a comeback, a return, a weekly entrance. What was that one entrance that blew your mind?
I was waiting for Ryan to go. All right.
Yeah, I'll go then. You know, his entrances I used to love, was Goldberg's entrances. If you ever watched WCW, obviously, back in the day, his entrance used to, he come out with like the prison guards next to him. They come out so seriously and pumped, and they start punching and kicking. All the fireworks. I think it was like the ultimate savage, bro. And sometimes even now, when I'm getting in the mood, I'm shadowboxing. And I'd have like my beats on, and I'll just have that song playing, like, dun, 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 and I'll be there, like, psyching myself up, ready to take over the world. And my dad comes in my room, mate, he's in trouble.
One of the entrance that stands out for me the most it's not necessarily the entrance he does all the time. It was just on this particular night. Was Ryan probably missed it because it was during like the PG era. So it was when Dolph Ziggler held the Money in the Bank, and he held it for it was around 9 months. So obviously, for those who don't know what the Money in the Bank is, you normally would win it at WrestleMania, but they made their own pay-per-view. You win it, and then you get a title. You get basically a contract for a title shot, which you can cash in at any moment. So yeah, he's held it for about 9 months. It was the day after WrestleMania. And obviously there was talk about him for ages, like when's he going to cash it in? Who's he going to cash it in against? He's held it for so long. Is he going to cash it in? So on and so forth. And then the champion just had a match and was obviously beat up, bruised, basically passed out on the floor. And then all you heard was, "I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show the world." And he just come running out with his Money in the Bank. And the crowd just erupted. And I swear to God, I remember watching it at home at like 3 o'clock in the morning and just getting goosebumps. Like, oh my God, he's catching it in. He's catching it in. And that was like, that was like one of the best entrances ever.
Remember there's a few I still watch now. Every time Kane come back, it was always good. But I don't know if you remember. So I think it was about 5-6 years ago. I don't know the exact storyline because I weren't obviously watching it religiously. It was like on the telly at the time. I think Vince was signing the WWE over to Stephanie, and as she went to sign the contract, Shane McMahon returned.
Yeah, I remember that.
And his song come on, and he used to do that stupid little dance across the stage in his Jordans. That was what, and I still watch that now because you see her face in the microphone. She's like that, and she goes, and then the music starts. Here comes the money. I'm not going to sing because I'm not as good as you, Jack. But he come rolling out and then just legged it down to the ring. And then they did that thing, didn't they? SmackDown versus Raw. And it was like him versus her. But there was always, as a kid, you know, there weren't a kid in the area that didn't watch it growing up. You know, every Monday night at whatever it was, 10 o'clock. And then it was on the next morning before school, like we spoke about, Jack. Legendary program, loved it. Jeff Hardy, though, he's the one, 100%. Not a man near him. I know you think Edge and your nickname stealer, Shawn Michaels.
So Ryan, is that who you think's like the greatest of all time as well, Shawn Michaels?
He just broke a load of women's heart, and I can relate to that. So I'm over the moon with him. She's my
Who's
idol,
second
innit?
for you?
No, do you know what? Probably Undertaker. I like the whole undefeated streak thing, innit? The WrestleMania. When that broke, I was like,
yeah, that broke my heart as well, man.
They should never have done that.
Lesnar, innit?
Yeah, I don't think they ever should have done it either.
No, never. I watched it every year and thinking he's never going to win. He's never going to win. And when I got to like 25 years old, I was just checking in. Undertaker. What was it he got to? When it like 39-0 or something stupid?
No, it was 24.
No, it's more than 24. I'm sure. No, it was. Hold on. It was either 31 or 21. I think it might have been 21 because Brock, Paul Heyman.
I think you're right,
my guy is the one behind the one in 21-1. So yeah, it was 21-0, I think.
Yeah, they should never have done that. That was wrong. They should have just let him go. And he's still going now, and he just returns every now and then.
Yeah, I don't know if he's come back for a while. Yeah, I know he lost to Roman Reigns as well, didn't he?
He must be old now, though. How old must he be?
He's in his 50s now, definitely, like mid-50s.
You wouldn't mind being in that shape in your 50s, though, would you? Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, like we said, it is probably all injections and whatnot.
Yeah,
so,
they all do that.
Picture yourself on a beach, boys. You're sat on a beach, yeah? You're out of camp. You've got 3 weeks in any country you want to be in, Barbados, Jamaica, America, wherever you want to go. And this little man walks over on the beach and he says, "Can I get you a drink and an ice cream? What are you ordering?"
What?
A man on the beach says, "Can I get you a drink and an ice cream? What are you ordering?"
Any drink, any ice cream. You're not in camp.
Oh, okay. Okay. Any ice cream? It'd have to be vanilla flavored because vanilla is the dog's bollocks.
100%.
And I don't know what bloody make Haagen-Dazs or something. I'd say, and a drink. It'd have to be a mocktail because I don't drink alcohol, and it's because I'd want a porn star martini to show off to the honey I've got sitting next to me that I'm a badass.
The honey you've got sat next to you is Jack.
Yeah, it's me, mate.
Well, it might be his lucky night.
And you, Jack?
For me, ice cream would probably be like a Ben and Jerry's, I think. Cookie dough would be my ice cream. And I mean, do we even need to mention what drink it would be?
I don't know why I asked you.
Be a glass of water.
What flavoured monster drink would you have is what he means.
I don't think it matters to him, does it?
No, I have like my top 5, but I don't actually know the names because like they just, mate, I just look at it, look at the can, know what the can is, pick it up and drink it. I don't know what flavour it is. But it's like the sandy coloured one or whatever. I think it's like
the red logo.
Yeah,
we
I
see
think
it in the shop. Yeah,
it was a tropical one, I think.
Mate, that one you told me about the other week. I ain't stopped. Every time I go in the shop at work, I'm grabbing one of them.
So you know what the thing is, I don't drink fizzy drinks, but everyone's been reviewing Monster as this. Like, I was with someone the other day, and they said, like, I went, "Have you actually got a Monster before?" And they was like, "Yeah, like, it's amazing. You need to try it." I'm like, you know what? If I break my bloody celibacy for fizzy drinks, I'm gonna have a Monster still. Yeah, I'll post it.
They are good. I was always a Red Bull man, but I'm switching to a bit more expensive. But I don't mind.
Red Bull's dangerous, mate. Have you not seen the bloody videos on it?
Yeah, well, I work in a shop that sells Red Bull right next to the till. So every time I'm thirsty, it's just pick one of them up and pay for like £1.80 every time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Carl.
One.
You play darts, yeah?
I used to.
Yeah, what sort of level are we talking?
I was ranked 21st in the world youth rankings at one point.
No way.
Yeah.
What, did you ever play anyone like of name or?
Van Gerwen.
No way.
Oh, jeez.
He was on the tour with me. I never had to play him. So like there was always about if you was abroad, like in Germany, for instance, that was quite a popular venue to have to go to. Like it was just set venues. It was like this weekend we're here. If you want to fly, my sponsors will take me there. But yeah, you had Van Gerwen on the tour. You had Michael Smith. He's now 5th in the world. Joe Cullen, he was on the tour at the start. All the Dutch, mate. The Dutch love a game of darts, honestly, and they're a nightmare.
And what, you actually played these guys, yeah?
They were on the tour with us, yeah. So luckily, I never drew Michael or Van Gerwen. Never had to play them. Oh. Never got to the best player I played a guy called Sean Griffiths. He was from Lancashire, and when we were growing up, he was like the top boy. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone knew him. He had sponsors coming out of his ear holes. But yeah, I was backed well, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like I just went to, like, we played Super League locally, and I was playing in Guildford one night, and one of the players of my team came over and said, "Oh, that lady over there, she was like the world #1." I said, "Okay, what's she doing here?"
Tell her shoot me a DM.
Yeah, she said, he said she's here to watch you. I said, okay. So then obviously I got a bit nervous, and I beat my mate's dad. He was top of the averages at the time, and I went out for a fag after and said, "Look, I want to take you to the Essex Open this week. I'm going to pay for it all. Just wear my shirt." And then it was at Colchester Football Club, and I lost in the first round, 3-0.
As you do, mate. As you do.
And then I had a photo shoot 20 minutes later, signing a contract.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, it's crazy. Good time. It was all right. I miss it and I don't miss it. Do you know what I mean? Because it was hard. Every Friday travelling to Wigan, Barnsley, sometimes close like Reading. But then you could be on a flight to Germany, and you could do all that to play 2 games of darts and lose both 3-0. Do you know what I mean?
But all the expenses paid for, yeah?
Hotel, travel, and they give you like 30, 40 quid expenses. So you'd have to pay for your drinks.
What else could you ask for? Eh? You do something you enjoy at the end of the day. So
I would say I enjoy life more now, genuinely.
What, you didn't enjoy darts?
I did, but it was hard. Do you know what I mean? Like, mate, I was working an 8 till 5 Monday to Friday. I know this sounds nothing compared to what you boxers do, but I was leaving at like 7 in the morning, getting to work for 8, working 8 till 5, getting home at 5:30, and I'd be practicing for 4 hours after work. Headphones on, in the kitchen, dartboard up, just throwing darts.
Yeah, no, even though I used to like play darts, not at a level or anything, just as a mess about, yeah. We do play for like 30, 40 minutes, yeah, and it becomes so mentally draining, like not even just physically, constantly trying to concentrate on hitting a certain number, just time after time. And I'm like, boy, I don't know how these darts players do this for this long, though.
Mate, honestly, when you just practice, especially when you're on your own, like Friday nights, me and my mate, we used to go out and we just used to put this board up in this pub. We'd plug our phone into the aux cable in this pub and we would just play all night long. Football on in the background. So, I mean, we'd have our music playing and it was brilliant. But if you're on your own, especially if you're indoors, you know what I mean, you come home from a 9-hour day and you just put this board up and you look at it and you think, I really can't be bothered to do this. But yeah, I stopped playing about 5-6 years ago now, mate.
1 minute, my thing is muted.
He's back. We should have got the music playing, HBK's music. Are you back on, Ryan?
I don't think he must be having difficulties.
Technical issues in the Lukeman household.
So, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I don't think you ever were muted because we can still hear you.
No, he can't hear us. He can't hear us.
Now's your time to say anything bad.
I can't hear none of you.
No?
I don't know what's happening there.
I see your lips moving. I can't hear you, but I will.
Well, I think, Jack, have you got anything else to add?
No,
I'm not going to lie. I think I'm going to have to leave the stream and come back.
Yeah, go on. We'll wait for him to come back and then we'll wrap it up. All that effort for him to bring it back in.
Yeah, I don't know. You can always try and edit this out if you can.
I don't think I'm clever enough to do that. But we'll talk about until Ryan's back. How your camp's gone this week. Obviously, you're deep into it now. So how has this week been for you?
Yeah, good, mate. Like, I'm getting down to kind of. Well, I've had like my last technical spar, which was today. It was like I did like 6 rounds against like an amateur lad and a female fighter.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah, all good. Someone just tried for.
Fair. Yeah, and then against the female fighter as well. I did 3 rounds apiece, and training's hard as always. But then now for the next 5 weeks, it's gonna be full on sparring and so on and so forth. So we're getting the hard grind coming in now, and he's gone again.
No, I definitely want to come back down, mate. I think I've got a busy few weeks at work, but February the 16th onwards, I'll definitely give you a message and come down there with you. Obviously, if it's okay. I know, obviously, in the final parts of camp, it's quite hard getting into gyms, which is understandable because you're, let me add him back, you're obviously right into it.
Yeah.
But as long as you stay safe and fit, mate, and we see you on the March the 12th, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Are you back, Ryan?
Yes, I'm all good. Sorry, them late night calls trying to get hold of me. What can I do?
Well, we was just literally going to wrap it up. The only last question I've got for both of you is take out English fighters, take out retired boxers. Your favourite overseas fighter that's currently active.
Rigondeaux. He's literally my favourite boxer. I went to Wales to watch him fight against Jazza Dickens. I flew to Las Vegas to watch him fight in Las Vegas. I bought tickets for him to watch him fight in New York. And yeah, I'll go around the world trying to watch Rigondeaux, you know what I mean?
What do you like about him?
Huh?
What is it that you like about him?
It's, you know what it is? I'm a real lover of the hit and not get hit style. Do you know what I mean? As I said, at first I was a Ricky Hatton fan. I loved the whole tuck your chin and go for it, the Gatty Ward sort of style. Do you know what I mean? But after a while, getting in there and doing it, I started appreciating actually hitting people and not getting hit yourself, the defensive side of it. And that's why I took him to Mayweather later on in during boxing. And Rigondeaux was just a master at not getting hit and hitting people. So that really attracted me.
And for you, Jack?
I really like Gabriel Rosado, and a bit of one that not many people would probably pick, but I just love his attitude, man. Do you know, nowadays there's too much boxing's become too much of a business now, and people will avoid each other. They won't take the risks that they need to, but no one can ever question Rosado. He's got in there against every single person in every single person's backyard. He may not have come out victorious, but he puts on a hell of a performance every time, and causes the odd upset here and there. I mean, he's probably been robbed more times than anyone has in the sport. But yeah, man, I just love what he's about.
I was going to say he has been quite unlucky with a few decisions given against him, hasn't he? So obviously, Ryan, quick one for you. Obviously, me and Jack spoke about Williams Eubank coming up at the weekend. What's your prediction?
I think Eubanks wins on points. I don't think he stops Williams. And I don't think Williams stops him either. But yeah, I think Williams is kind of on the decline, to be honest with you. I think he's took a couple of little mini wars. I watched him in Wales, as I said, on the Rigondeaux card. He was fighting Gary Corcoran, I believe it was, the one that fought for a world title. Yeah, and they had a little mini war in there. And we're talking, 6 years ago that was? 7 years ago nearly. So, since then, he's been having these sort of fights, whereas Eubank's been fighting these blowovers and blowing them over. And every time he does get tested, he loses. So, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think Williams is on the decline. But it is a true 50-50 fight. And I admire what Sky Sports are actually doing. They're bringing actually better cards than DAZN is. If you look at their next couple lineups compared to DAZN, it blows them out the water. So that's admirable,
I think I'm not to say they've been quite lucky, but I know obviously we'll be in February. Their lineup is outrageous. Like we said, Jack, you got Brooke Khan, Williams Eubank, and there's one more, but they would have been 3 months apart. I think they've just got quite lucky that they've paid the fighters. Let's just get them all out in one month. Adam Smith was saying yesterday to Umar that, yes, we've got it banging up in February, but we might not have a huge fight until sort of April after that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, you are right. I think DAZN are the best overall. I just think their cards, you can't ever really moan about their cards. Even fight.
Have you seen the Williams and Eubank card?
Brilliant card. Brilliant card.
Proper good card.
I'm looking forward to watching
Clarissa Shields on it, Otto Wallen on it.
What's
Caroline
that? Otto Wallen versus Sekalovsky. What's that all about?
It was a last minute thing. He just messaged the people at Sky and said, "Do you reckon you could get me on a card?" And they was like, "Yeah, we'll just put you up against some journeyman, innit?" So yeah, that was a last minute thing.
Sokolovsky's a good fighter though. His record, he's another one. He beat David Adelaide, was his name?
Yeah, David Adelaide.
Oh yeah.
He beat him in that fight 100%.
And he beat Thingy's son, innit? What's his name?
George Fox, is it?
Yeah. Don Charles' son.
But I don't see him beating Otto Wallen, to be honest with you. But
no, I don't either. No, it's not. But it's a little 6 rounder or 8 rounder to get him out because he ain't fought for a year, isn't it? So that's why they want to get him out, keep him in the rankings for WBC, I believe.
Cool. Well,
wait. I've got one more question for Ryan. Seeing as I was just speaking to Carl about earlier, and I was mentioned I was sparring a female today. What's your views on that?
On what?
Just like sparring
females fighting.
No, like sparring as a man, sparring women, and so on.
Yeah, I've dropped women in sparring. I'm for it. I love it. But I'm joking. But I've dropped women in sparring. But yeah, it's just obviously it is what it is, isn't it? You don't take the piss. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, if they're a female fighter and they want to fight, then a fight it is, I guess. Yeah, what did you tuck your chin down and throw some haymakers at it or something?
Yeah, of course, bro.
That's the spirit, mate. That's back in the kitchen. I'm joking. I'm messing. All my PR team.
I just think like it is a sport that's like dominated by men, and it's quite a manly environment. So I think, you know, like, not if they get in, like I've got to treat them like a man, but in a sense you do as well. Like, it's a tough sport, it's a hard sport. Like, you know, you don't get in there and tickle each other. So when it does happen and I do spar, I don't like put it on them like I put it on you the first time we sparred, but like, you know, I give them.
I hope not, mate. You wouldn't be that alive.
I let them know I'm there, you know.
That, mate.
But Jack, on that, I don't think the woman would want you to. The lady. I don't think the lady would want you to go in there and take it easy. Do you know what I mean? She's probably heard about that sparring for a week and thought, "Fuck, I want him to come in there and give me all he's got. I want to see where I'm at."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, there's a story of our mate Michael, and he said he's sparring Sandy Ryan, and he said she put it all over him, and that's someone you don't actually need to get on for an interview. It's the great Ryan, Michael Adamescu.
Oh, Michael.
Yeah. What a legend that man is.
Yeah, he is a legend, man.
He said he was sparring Sandy Ryan, and obviously he admitted, like, she beat me up in sparring. You know what I mean? This when she was still an amateur and that. So
she's an animal, though. She's an absolute animal.
She's really good.
Who's that other one as well? Isn't it her? She's going into a 10-rounder in her next fight. It is. I'm sure it's her. She's stepping up. I'm sure I heard Eddie Hearn say about it. I love women's boxing. I think it's brilliant. I really do. I enjoy watching them on the cards. The 2-minute rounds, they just bash each other up, don't they?
Yeah. What do you not think about this Katie Taylor and Serrano fight?
Do you know what? I don't think Katie Taylor's looked good for a long time, you know.
Agreed.
Yeah, ever since she had that, was it the German lady she fought? Do you know that on the American cards?
Oh, the Belgian.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong, that was probably one of the best women's fights in history. Yeah. But like ever since then, I don't think she's looked good at all. Not like the Katie Taylor when she first stepped on the scene and she was blowing everyone out of the water. I don't think she was good for a long time.
I think that fight, like you just said about, I can't remember her name. She'd beaten everyone to the ground in every fight before that. And I think being in a close fight like that, coming out battered, because her eyes were out here, she was blue in the face. You know, I think she probably thought, Jesus, this ain't as easy as it was. But then you do hear people say that Katie Taylor was best at the end of her amateur career. That's when she was the best that she could be. And she's slowly come into the professional scene. And I think you're right, Jack. Over time, I think she's gradually gone down. And, you know, huge respect to Katie Taylor, because she has made women's boxing. She's the reason it is where it is. Do you know what I mean? Definitely, but I think Serrano beats her, sadly. I really.
Yeah, I do as well. I'm on the Serrano bandwagon, I can't lie. And I'm an Irishman as well, so that means something, you know what I mean? If I think Serrano's going to win.
I think if that fight had happened when it was supposed to, a couple of years back, I think Katie Taylor's all over it. But
that's the thing, Katie Taylor, she went to the 2016 Olympics and didn't even medal, wasn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, she won the 2012 Olympics gold, and she went to 2016 and didn't even medal, so turned pro straight away after.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. That's the fourth thing I've learned on this podcast in 4 episodes.
You're in the presence of a genius, lads. How can you not learn something? Come on now. It's like your usual guest. But yeah, talking about women's sport, actually, Jack, your missus is about to win a world title, mate.
Oh, no, mate. They're going to be there as well. I can't wait.
Are you?
Yeah.
Tickets. I was wondering what he was talking about, Ebony, yeah.
Yeah.
They should deliver them to you personally.
Nah.
Turn up at your door, Jack.
Terry got them for me for my birthday. So my ex-girlfriend bought me tickets to go see my future girlfriend.
Brilliant. That's the spirit,
He's a
mate.
character. That'll be a good card, though. That Leeds. That'll be a very good. I love Maxie Hughes. He is the fairy tale of boxing. I don't care what anyone says. He lost that fight to what's his name? Before he got the British, he lost to an English fighter.
Was it Jay Ward? Was it
Martin J. Ward?
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost to someone else. I'm sure he did. And then he took the British title fight. No, he beat John O'Carroll, didn't he?
Yeah, he beat at Lockdown. Yeah.
And then he won the British. Then he won the European, and now he's the IBO. I don't consider to be an official world title, but mate, that's crazy. What a story! That's like you, Jack, winning the Southern Area on the 12th, and then in June winning the British title.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like such a bang
turnaround, isn't it?
Oh, huge, mate. And I love Josh Warrington as well. I really, really hope he wins.
Are you a fan of that whole style, that like tuck your chin down and
just brawl? I love it, mate.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, you love it.
Well, Jack, Christ, mate, I watched him bar the other week, and I don't know if you listen, but I stood on there were steps, and I stood on the second step to get some pictures, mate. And he stepped back, and I was nearly in the other ring. I'm out of the way.
Yeah, no, you have to be careful, mate.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, I was, and I stayed away. The same as when I went down to the edge, and they put a seat literally right next to the corner of the ring, and I'm sat here like this, just like looking through the ring, like jumping out of the way. Anything else, boys?
I think we've touched on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we covered a bit. I mean, obviously, apologies for the calls. No. That was my midnight foot rub appointment with one of my girlfriends. But I had to cancel that. But just for you guys, I cancelled that. You know what I mean? My feet are going to go to sleep cold tonight for you guys. So it's been an honor.
No, Ryan, one more shout out for your fight, mate, and you, Jack. Where can we get tickets? Where do we go?
Yeah, shoot me a DM. The thing is below there, Romel Boxer, and it'll be on the 27th of March, a Sunday. So don't spend too long at church, kids. Get back, get the tickets, and get to the fight because it's going to be over very quick. I'm generally going to blow this guy out the water. I'm going to aim for the knockout, innit? So
I hope you do, mate. I really hope you do.
That's the plan, mate.
And you, Punk?
Same for me, guys. Same as Ryan just said. That's my Insta handle there. Twitter, Jack_the_Punk, and Facebook, Jack the Punk Hughes. I should have a link in most of my social medias. So yeah, either get them off the link or get them off me.
I'll tell you what I'll start doing in the descriptions on YouTube. I'll tag. Maybe we should do that. I'll tag all of the social media tags. That might be a good idea.
Nice idea, mate.
But no, boys, I've got nothing else. I've enjoyed it. We've done just over an hour again, and I'm sure we will be back letting the punk talk next week.
Yes, I'll be tuned in. See you then.
Take care. Thank you, boys.
Bye.